Chapter 12, Part 2. I'm picking up at slide 12-17. I've actually skipped over a couple of slides, and I do that because they're either unimportant or repetitive. You can have a look at those slides. I guess most importantly, they're not as important if I'm skipping over them. Okay. Target marketing and market segmentation. Target marketing is actually formally dividing up the marketplace into different customer groups. A target market is a group of potential customers who have similar wants and needs, while segmentation is a further dividing. Segmentation is dividing that target market into different categories. So a target market could be students. The target market of students can be further segmented into whether they're commuters, online, on campus, live in residence, are they going to MUN or Kona, are they international, domestic, full-time scholarship, full-time loan, pay their own way, are they graduate or undergraduate? And you can even segment by study discipline. Market segmentation focuses on the search for common traits between consumers. There are 5 market segmentation categories. The first one is geographics. The second one is demographics. The third is geodemographics, and geodemographics is simply graphics and demographics put together into geodemographics, and psychographics and behavioral variables. These are the 5 major segmentation categories, and let's look at each of those 5 a little closer. The first one is geographic variables, and geographic variables are simply where you live. I live in St. John's, Newfoundland. It's a fact, and it's not going to change unless I move somewhere else. Where somebody lives affects their purchasing decisions. As an example, umbrellas. Umbrellas are extremely important in Europe. Everybody carries an umbrella because they walk everywhere, and then it rains, they're not caught, they got an umbrella. Here in St. John's, we do not carry umbrellas because it's too windy and the umbrella just takes off and turns itself inside out and is gone. Here, we bring up our hood and we hold onto it tight because we don't want to lose it or for it to fall down. Another good example would be backyard pools don't work in St. John's and Newfoundland. Our summers are too short and not hot enough. But in Ontario, everybody's got a backyard pool. It's just common to have one. So let me give you a couple of examples, and I'll pause and let you answer. Where do cowboy boots sell the best? Calgary or St. John's? I'm sure you said Calgary. F-150 pickups. Do they sell the best in St. John's or downtown Toronto? I'm thinking you said St. John's. Okay, I will come back to geodemographic. Demographic variables describe populations by identifying characteristics such as age, religion, income, education, occupation, language, marital status, family size, ethnicity, and gender. Just like geographic, demographic is a fact. I'm a certain age, certain religion, I got a certain income and education and occupation, I speak only English, and yes, I'm married, and I'm female. Like, it's a fact. Geographic, demographic are facts. Now, I promised to come back to geodemographic. And geodemographic is actually putting geographic and demographic together. And geographic, demographic variables are a combination of geographic and demographic. So here's a good example. Young urban professionals, well-educated 25 to 34-year-olds with high-paying jobs living in the downtown core of the major cities. These are the ones that have no car, probably pay a fortune in rent, and they walk everywhere or get taxis because they live downtown, they shop downtown, they work downtown. Okay, moving right along, the fourth segmenting variable is psychographic variables. And psychographic variables are variables such as lifestyle, opinions, interests, and attitudes. Now, this is the first category for segmentation that can be altered and changed by marketers over time. The other three categories, geodemo and geodemo, cannot be changed. It's a fact. But this one can actually be changed. Can be altered and shaped by marketing campaigns. When I worked in the bank years and years ago, customers did not want to use the ATM machines. They wanted to get in the lineup and be served by a live person. So every Friday we would have muffins and coffee, and customer service clerks would encourage people to have a snack. Now let's take your snack and go out to the ATM and I'll show you how to use it. WestJet are encouraging me now to do the same thing. They don't want me in the lineup. They want to take me by the hand, bring me to the machine, and show me how to use it. So I'm starting to use those machines without kind of looking to go to the counter. As I said, psychographic variables are the first segmentation variable that can be altered and changed over time with marketing. The fifth and final is behavioral segmentation. And behavioral segmentation explains why consumers buy a certain product. As I said, we are all different. We all do different things. Why are some people perfectly happy with Tim Hortons, maybe at $1.50, and other people want Starbucks, which is probably $6? Or other people want to have their coffee home and know exactly what they're drinking home. Some are happy with only a Godiva chocolate bar, others, Kit Kat is fine. Some are okay with a white t-shirt from Costco or Joe Fresh, but others want a Ralph Lauren white t-shirt. Big difference in the price. Behavioral segmentation variables are benefits sought, usage rate, occasion for use, loyalty, and user status. Think of a pair of sneakers. Why do you need them? Are you loyal to Nike? Are they for soccer or walking? Comfort or fashion? What price are you looking at? Are you an existing customer? Are you a member of a loyalty program? All these kind of factors show up under behavioral segmentation. Product positioning is the process of fixing, adapting, and communicating the nature of the product itself. Product positioning puts the product in the consumer's mind. Last going off for Republic of Doyle, you always saw the Republic of Doyle actors when they were solving a case. They, instead of sitting around with a ceramic coffee mug, they sat around with a McCafe, which is McDonald's. McDonald's paid good money to the Republic of Doyle to do that. Maybe you've seen the series on TV, The House of Cards. I forget her name, but in real life her name is Robin Wright. She always had a Prada purse, a big Prada purse. On The House of Cards, they always had Apple computers. And if you went into someone's office, they'd have two big screens and you'd see the Apple lit up. Apple product paid money for that product positioning. Now, products get positioned in your mind a certain way. And I'm not being critical here. Tim Hortons and Starbucks, they're both coffee houses, but they're both positioned very differently in the minds of consumers. Tim Hortons, cheap, fast, standardized product, tastes burnt. Starbucks, expensive, leisurely, relaxing, comfy, customized product, ridiculously expensive. I may be embellishing, but that's how I feel. Okay, market research. We're kind of changing gears a little bit now. Market research is the systematic study of consumer needs. Market research can focus on one of the 4 Ps or it can focus on all 4 of the 4 Ps. Market research leads to more effective marketing. Market research increases the accuracy and the effectiveness of segmentation and ultimately marketing. There are major Newfoundland marketing firms, the Idea Factory, Target, M5, Pilot, Color. These companies in St. John's, they take our co-op students here from the faculty and they take our BCom graduates. And maybe when you get to do a work semester during your BCom, you'll work at a marketing firm if that's where your interest lies. These marketing firms can carry out research looking at all 4 of the Ps or one of the Ps. Research can also be conducted in-house within the company or outside one of these marketing firms. The research process is the study of what buyers need and how best to meet their needs. There are 5 steps in the research process. There are 5 steps in the research process. The first step is to study the current situation. In other words, what's being done now, what's happening, what needs are being met, not met. The second step in the research process is to select a research method. And there are 4 research methods. The first one is focus group. And focus group is when 6 to 10 people are brought together and they're asked a series of questions in order to gauge their responses. The second category is a survey, and some of you may have participated, I'm sure you have, in surveys. Again, surveys are usually one-on-one, and you're asked a bunch of questions to get your reaction and to get feedback for the company. Both of these, the focus group and the survey, are not that reliable. And the reason they're not that reliable is because people don't tell the truth. People say what they think you want to hear. So if we were in class now, I always walk right up to a student and I get right in their face and I say, how am I doing teaching Business 1000 this semester? Well, the student turns absolutely blood red and says, oh, good, good, good. It would be awfully difficult for you to look me in the eye now and tell me I'm doing a poor job. It'd be really difficult, and it would be easier to say good. You might think I'm doing a really crappy, lousy job, but you wouldn't say it. You'd say good or okay. You'd say something like that to get off the hook and not have to deal with it. Both of these are expensive for companies. Focus groups and surveys are expensive, and if they're not that reliable, kind of why do it? Surveys are taking a different focus now. A lot more surveys are being done online, and I find this very clever. Online surveys are cheap, they're fast, it's instant feedback, it's great for companies, and it's really cost efficient and effective. As an example, you go to Montana's, and when you pay your bill, they say, there's a survey here, and go home in the next 24 hours, fill in this survey, and you'll get yourself a free appetizer. Now, I find that very clever marketing for two reasons. The first reason is because you got to fill it in 24 hours. It's an anonymous survey. It could have been a crappy meal, and it was too expensive, and the service was bad. You can go home and look at your computer and say all that. So Montanans are getting honest feedback within 24 hours, which makes it quite reliable. The second thing I like about that is you fill that in and you get a free appetizer for doing so. And you're like, wow, free appetizer for $10. Well, you're not going to Montana's and having a free appetizer, because you're going to have to take a buddy, and you're going to have to order the main meals, and then you're going to have a beer or a Coke or something else, and the next thing, Montana's got another $75 from you. So that's why I say it's clever. Clever, they're getting the feedback, and clever, they're getting a repeat visit. Okay, observation. Observation is simple people watching. My dad had a retail store when I grew up, and my dad every Saturday afternoon walked the retail store. After he had his lunch, he went to the store and he walked around, he talked to the customers, he asked them how they were doing, he asked them could he help them find something, he asked them about the fish plant in their town, he asked them about unemployment. He generally was gathering information and asking what was happening. And he was acquiring, I guess, business intelligence about the environment and the economy. And he did it every single Saturday afternoon. And that's simple people watching observation. Now, observation can be a little more computerized nowadays, because everything is on the computer. So you're in a restaurant and they have the lobster roll on the menu and it's like $29 and it doesn't sell. Well, guess what? They know on the cash register receipts how many they sell and how many they don't sell, so they can remove it from the menu. Or it's like the black boots sold really well, we better order more. Experimentation is what the big designer houses do, like Dior, Ralph Lauren, Versace. They send the gowns to the actresses, and if the actress picks their gown, walks the red carpet, wins the Oscar, oh boy, it's going to be in all the magazines for a long, long time. Experimentation is expensive, and it's really done by huge, big national brands. Okay, the third step in the research process is collecting data. Collecting data can be secondary data or primary data. Primary data is new data that doesn't already exist. All of these are primary data. Brand new data that doesn't exist that's going to be produced. Secondary data is data that already exists. It's at the library, the periodicals in the magazines, the journals, is all over the internet. Secondary already exists, you just need to find it and access it. Primary is brand new using one of these methods. Okay, now you're into analyzing the data, and you need to make it clear and make sure it makes a whole lot of sense. And you need to then prepare a report and make recommendations and courses of actions for the company. Now we'll shift to look at consumers and why consumers behave the way they do. Why are some happy with $1.50 Tim's and why some people want the $6 Starbucks? What need is being fulfilled there? Consumer behavior is the study of the process by which customers come to purchase and consume a product or service. Consumer behavior is influenced by psychological factors, personal factors, social factors, and cultural factors. Psychological factors are a person's motivations, perceptions, and attitudes. I absolutely always buy Japanese cars. I definitely have an attitude that Japanese cars are better. Personal factors would be like your lifestyle, your personality, your economic status. I remember when I had to get rid of a two-door car because I couldn't get the baby bucket in the back seat, and I had to get a four-door car. Social factors would be your family, your friends, your workers, your colleagues, your professional associates. Cultural factors include culture and social class. All of these four factors help marketers explain consumer choices and predict future buying behavior. The consumer buying process has a number of steps. The first step is to identify a problem or a need. It can be automatic or it could be a change in a lifestyle. You just graduated, you're going to need to buy a car. It's winter, you're going to need boots. Information seeking is the second phase in the consumer buying process. It can be short or it can be long and detailed. It very much depends on the individual and on the decision. People differ in the amount of research they do. Some do a little tiny bit of research and they're on to what they're looking for. Others do endless research. The third step is to evaluate the alternatives. Compare one product to another, compare based on attributes and benefits, and head towards what's going to be the best choice. The purchase decision is the next step, and that decision can either be rational or emotional. We'd like to all be better shoppers and rational shoppers, but sometimes we're emotional shoppers, which means we buy what looks good as opposed to what makes sense. There is a fifth step in the consumer buying process, and the fifth step and the final step is to ensure customers are entirely satisfied. Happy customers tell other customers. Unhappy customers tell other customers. Marketers want you to be satisfied. Okay, the next part of this chapter that I'm starting at 30 talks about product. So the rest of chapter 12 and chapter 13 will be the 4 P's of marketing. Chapter 12 does product and chapter 13 does the other 3 P's. Product is what consumers actually purchase. And consumers purchase for the function and the benefit. Now, products can be tangible and they can be intangible. You need a watch. You can buy a $10 watch, a Timex or whatever it is. You can buy a $10 watch that tells time. But also you may want intangible features, like you want your watch to be a piece of jewelry. You want your watch to measure your heart rate and your number of steps. You want your watch to give you your emails. It can be basic or it can have a lot of intangible features. Okay, I do this slide best when I make it 2 slides. So the top is the slide, the top of my line is the slide, and the bottom of my line is the slide. Consumer products have 3 classifications. The first one is convenience goods and services. Convenience goods and services are goods that are bought frequently with little thought and they're consumed rapidly. Repeat purchases, inexpensive, fast food, newspaper, coffee, lunch. Shopping goods and services are purchased infrequently. They have a moderate cost, like vacations, electronics. Specialty goods are purchased rarely. They're typically very expensive. Consumers take their time to locate the exact item desired, like a wedding dress or the caterer for the wedding or buying a house. Now, the bottom part, industrial or production goods have 2 categories, expense items and capital items. Expense items have a useful life of less than 12 years, like raw materials, cleaning supplies, other types of supplies. They're going to be used up within 12 months. Capital items are long-term capital items that have a huge cost and they're carefully thought out, like cars and buildings and sheds and paved parking lots, and so on. One is very short-term and the other is very long-term. Products can be grouped into 2 categories, either product mix or product line. Best explained with an example. A Black & Decker has a product mix of toasters, blenders, irons, lawnmowers, vacuums, kettles, and so on. Black & Decker has a product line of toasters, from a $20 toaster to a $400 toaster. Another example could be Nike. Nike has a product mix that includes sneakers, t-shirts, gym bags, socks, hats, rackets, clothing, shorts, and so on. I said that in Nike's product mix they have sneakers. Nike has a product line of sneakers, from a $100 pair of sneakers that are basic general up to thousands and thousands of dollars sneakers. Their product line of sneaker has a sneaker for every kind of sport. Okay, I think I'll stop there and come back in a few minutes and we'll pick up at 33.